those are going to Colorado, that's where. When we're gonna go out, in June, we're gonna drive to Phoenix, it's the national day, so we're just gonna take a week and just ease out there and come back. So, yeah, big deal. I'm going to say that. Okay. I'm just going to reach. Seeing all my kids.
Oh, that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, any person wishing to speak on any question previously discussed through administrative channels and not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes to make a presentation to the board. Is anybody here that wishes to speak? All right. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. A consent agenda is utilized by the Alton R-4 Board of Education to deal with routine matters which must be considered by the Board of Education but require a minimum of discussion. All Board of Education members receive and review written information supporting the items listed on the consent agenda well before the meeting. While any Board of Education member is welcome to remove any item from the consent agenda for separate consideration or discussion for any reason, normally all items on the consent agenda are approved in one motion with a minimum of discussion. May I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Chris has the motion. Jamie has the second. All in favor? All right. The consent agenda is approved. In old business, we have long-range facility program update. Dr. Williams.
Okay, we're pretty excited. For those of you that have an opportunity to come to our gymnasium today, they have started our air duct system. We have our Alton Comet air ducts put up, and so the next part will, and they go to the stage as well, and then the next part we'll be putting in our big air conditioning and heating units, so we're excited about that. The new slide isn't at the playground. We talked about that last time, but a more exciting thing is on March 20 we begin our softball pole insertion from 5B Electric in Sullivan, Missouri. We'll be down to install them along with our stadium lights. And then the last thing, our rehab choir building, we're getting ready to put up the sheetrock.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right. In new business, we have the final read and approval for the 2022B update of policies and procedures. This update reflects recent changes in law and includes changes to several physical policies and procedures. The update also addresses new legal requirements for curriculum development and suicide awareness and prevention. Dr. Williams has met with the policy committee to review each policy, and the board is presenting copies of their second read tonight. A simple majority vote shall approve the final action to adopt the proposed policies. Does the board have any questions or comments on the policies or procedures presented? All right, may I get a motion and a second?
That's correct.
To rescind policy DBB. Debbie has the motion. Jamie has the second. All in favor? All right. That motion passes. The district adopts the remaining 2022B updates of policies and procedures.
Okay. This is to accept the rest.
Okay. Next, may I get a motion to approve the remaining policies and procedures? Laurel has the motion. Chris has the second. All in favor? All right. Passes. Sorry, I skipped right over that. Next, Dr. Williams presents the 2023-24 district calendar for approval. Are there any questions from the board on the calendar? Do you have that?
Kelly, did you have a copy of the calendar in your book?
If not, I have it.
Okay. So the calendar, we presented 5 different calendars which matched 5 major school districts in the state of Missouri. And then after we had our initial vote, I went to Springfield Public Schools and some other people to review those which were chosen to make sure that they were safeguarded for weather and that they include the proper number of hours. And so next school year, our first day of school will be on August 21. Teacher work days will be on August 15, 16, and 17 before that first day of school. We will have a full Thanksgiving break, a full Christmas break, and a full spring break. The last day of school will be on the 17th of May. The school days will be shorter than this year. There will be 170 days at 6.5 hours per day required. So they'll begin each day at 8 o'clock and we will be finished by 3 p.m. So I think the parents will be very thrilled. Okay, so you'll need a motion on that one.
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve that calendar? Laurel has the motion. Debbie has the second. All in favor? Motion passes. The Board of Education will meet in April to adjourn the old board and to reorganize the newly elected board. The meeting will include A, certification or acceptance of the election results, B, swearing in of the recently elected, including re-elected board members, and C, the election of officers. May I get a motion to set Thursday, April 13, 2023 at 6 p.m. for the board reorganization meeting? Kelly has that motion. I have the second. All in favor? Okay. Next, Larissa Staten, elementary principal, will discuss summer school 2023. Ms. Staten.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to talk with you about summer school. So this handout is, excuse me, what I'm going to be talking about. It's always nice to have things in front of you. Okay, so we have summer school. The nuts and bolts of it are summer school will be May 30th, which is the Tuesday right after Memorial Day, through June 23rd. That is the traditional calendar. It's 19 days. We will be going 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. It meets the state requirement of 120 hours. It's actually a little bit over, but that's okay. I like things to be nice and tidy, so 250 bothered me just a hair. So we're going to go 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. What you see at the top is, it's my understanding, and as I was principal for a couple of days as substitute, summer school in years past has been about students previewing the next year, because technically it begins the 23-24 school year. That's not how I've always understood summer school to be. My understanding of summer school, both as a child and then as a teacher, is summer school is about remediation and review and mastery. So that's how we're going to do this. So if a student has just finished kindergarten, they will not move to a first grade in summer school. They will stay in kindergarten summer school. And they will review and master and remediate those concepts and skills they did not have, or just to review. We will be remediating and reinforcing reading and math. We will also be having music, PE, science and social studies. We will be using IXL and iReady programs that we've already purchased for learning supports. Field trips are more local and educational. We are not going to Branson. We are not going to movies in West Plains. I want to do things like go to Alley Springs, go to the Alton Pool, go to the library, go to Mammoth Springs Hatchery and Aquarium, go to Turner Mill North. So things around here. It's not that I'm against field trips, I just think they need to be educational. I think they can be fun, but I also think we need to find a way to marry the two. A lot of our kids, I know that previous administrations have been about introducing our students to experiences, and I don't disagree with that, but I think there are plenty of local experiences that don't require us to sit on a bus for 3.5 hours for a 2-hour aquarium tour and then they come right back. I just think that's a lot and expensive. We will be having attendance incentives every week, gift cards, local restaurants, gas station, pool, the punch cards. And I had wondered if we wanted even to pay students the way that we're doing here at the junior high and high school for perfect attendance. So I just put in there, here's what it would look like. I also want summer school to be a little bit like summer camp. So it is summer. We need to have a little bit of fun, and those are also experiences for our students. So trusty Oriole Trading Company has things like seed pots. And, you know, we buy dirt, we buy seed pots, we buy seeds, they get the first week, and then they watch them grow. Okay, well, that's science, and it's also get to take them home. It's fun. Color puzzles, making pinwheels, using binoculars to watch birds, look at leaves, color and play with a beach ball, build and paint a wooden project like a rocket, airplane, trinket box, using chalk to make math hopscotch boards out on the basketball court, sidewalks. So just doing some different things. The idea is that we have K-5, we're not gonna offer pre-K in summer school, okay? Kindergartners who come in will be kindergartners who just finished kindergarten. Not a single child who did preschool or did kindergarten in the summer remembered anything at all about how to go through the lines or where anything was in the school year. It's too much time, and it looks so different when everybody's there that they were still overwhelmed, and it didn't make as much difference. We do plan to offer junior high and high school credit recovery at least. Mr. Caruso would like to offer, he's trying to gather students for a half credit or full credit general PE or weights class. Mrs. Granger Bettis would like to offer personal finance to 9th through 12th graders. And the application that Holly Reese and I have been working on, those classes need to have at least 10 students to make, so to speak. Last year there were 162 students who attended summer school. I'm fingers crossed we'll have at least that many. It'd be great if we had 175 to 200. Gets a little scary though for teachers, so we'll see how that goes. Any questions for me?
I like the local education.
Thank you. I'm looking to put out the applications at the 2 sites after spring break. That'll give everybody about 5 weeks. Yes, ma'am?
Just a suggestion, you're talking about Turner's Mill North.
Uh-huh.
There is a schoolhouse there too.
Mm-hmm.
So
That
I
was
just
part of
wanted-
why I had
Okay,
suggested
okay,
that.
That's good.
Yep.
Because the Forest Service is working on that.
Right. Right. And Jerry Granger, because I'm new to this area, he's been really helpful about, hey, what about this? It's local and we could do that. And I was like, oh, and we also looked at doing some Friday afternoon picnics and, you know, just staying here and still having fun and kind of showing the, well, not kind of. The goal would be to show kids that summer school is not good. It can be fun. Yes, you're in school, but let's have some fun with this too and learn while we're doing it.
Anybody else, any other questions?
Thank you.
I don't like that you're not including preschool though.
Do we approve
I know.
summer school dates?
Why?
Well,
Why should?
Well, I beg to differ on when you say they don't remember, because they do remember. They enjoy coming to summer school.
Mhm.
And it gives them an opportunity to learn to go get their trade, where the bathroom is. I know her face.
Mhm.
I've met some friends, so that very first day of kindergarten or preschool, either one, is not so scary to them.
So my question though is, because the state requires us to be certified in the same way we are during the school year, does that person then, don't they have to have an early childhood certification?
Yes,
Okay,
but
I'm-
we have people on staff for that.
yes, but I don't actually know that I have anybody who's pre-K.
Well, if you
Yeah.
don't have anybody to do it, I mean, that's a totally different thing, but you're just automatically just taking them out of the equation.
That's
If you
true.
don't think they retained enough to do that. That's why
I
I say
don't,
let's beg to differ on that.
and you're correct, and I don't think I spoke clearly. Holly and I have talked about it because she's asked me before, and we'll put it out there and let's see what kind of interest we have,
Right,
and then we'll go from there.
because you usually have about half of your class that will show up.
Yep, that's true. You're correct. So I apologize for that. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We discussed it and then we approved it, or what the plan is for summer school. Okay. Anybody have any other questions for Ms. Staton? Thank
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, Holly Reese will now present the academic update. Ms. Reese?
I can speak about health insurance. We have 3 options that we're looking at for health insurance, but I have no other information. I have no information right now, so that's, I really left it off. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, no, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to share several things with you guys, and I will start with the MSIP 6 annual report, annual performance report. So I will give everyone just a little bit of a history on MSIP. The 6th version of the Missouri School Improvement Program is the state's accountability system for reviewing and accrediting school districts. It outlines the expectations for school practices and student outcomes with the goal of each student graduating ready for success in college, career, and life. The comprehensive MSIP accountability system was established in 1990 and has evolved with each version. These new standards and indicators are designed to establish a new method for the state to determine the extent to which students are meeting the Missouri learning standards and obtaining the necessary skills and knowledge. MSIP 6 is intended to distinguish the performance of schools and LEAs in valid, accurate, and meaningful ways so that LEAs can continue to improve and identify areas of excellence. To this end, the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education will produce an annual performance report for LEAs in schools across the state, which will be used to inform accreditation and classification decisions. Indicators evaluated on the MSIP 6 APR are divided into 2 sections: performance metrics, which measure student outcomes, and continuous improvement metrics, which assesses the quality of the work of the LEA toward improving opportunities provided to all students. So you can see this is their guideline. Here we are in our, this was the transitional year. We're in 22-23. I'm sorry, we're using 21-22 data for this year's APR. Classification will not be lowered due to performance, and then you can see what will happen in 22-23 and 23-24. So some key considerations for the 22 APR. It cannot be compared to previous APRs. This is the very first year. So comparing it to last year or the year before, you cannot do that because it's a completely new program, new metrics, new data. It contains data from the 21-22 school year only. It reflects the ongoing impact of the pandemic, including its disproportionate impact on some groups of students. It separates scoring for achievement status and growth and emphasizes them equally. It is the pilot report for MSIP 6 and cannot be used to lower district classification or to evaluate teachers. It is one among many data points for stakeholders. So you can see the performance, there are 126 points possible. Continuous improvement, there are 52 points possible. We received 80 of the performance points and 50 of the 52 continuous improvement for an overall total of 73% for our district. So how does that look across the state? You can see that the APR distribution, 435 districts in the state fell in the range of 70 to 94%, which is where we fell at 73. So a majority of the districts are right where we fall. So let's look at the performance. This is just the percentage of the overall score. This is not our score yet specifically. The performance section is based on the following metrics. So you have academic achievement, and that will go right here. So the academic achievement, and it looks at student groups. Now when we talk about student groups, that's going to be low-income students, and that's defined by students who are direct certified in the National School Lunch Program. We look at groups of students with disabilities, English learners, and the state's major racial and ethnic student groups. We also look at some growth, and they look at all students, and then they break it down into the student groups. Our success-ready students, we get points for assessments such as the ACT. You can get points for the SAT, which we do not give, work keys, AccuPlacer, and ASVAB. And you can also get points for advanced placement, dual credit, dual enrollment, and industry recognized credentials. For example, if we have our ag students or FCCLA students or business students receive an industry recognized credential that they can use in the workplace. So we get points for that. Graduation rate is pretty self-explanatory. It's just where our graduation rate falls. And then our grad follow-up rate, when within 180 days of graduation, we have to do a follow-up on every single senior that just graduated, and we have to find out if they went to a technical school, did they go to the military, did they go into high school, and then if they did go into one of those fields, did it follow the path that they declared when they were in high school? And so if it did, you get a positive point. If they, let's say they said they wanted to be a business major in high school, but then they went out into the workforce and they went into agriculture. So that would be a negative placement, sadly enough. So we do get points based on what our students do once they graduate. The state looks at that. So you can see that that's 2% of the overall performance. So this is Alton R-4 performance. So you can see it breaks it down in with ELA, math, science, and social studies. They do have a growth measure in here, and this is going to be the only place that you will see that they used 21 data, and they used that for growth. Now why, I do not know. When they said that, look at this, do not compare this to anything else. They've hit, the department has hit that hard, yet they did give us a growth measure, not just us, any school district in the state, so that they could give you some growth points. So you can see over here our designation on different items. You can see that we need to do some work with math on our all students, and we have measures in place to improve those. We are on track with our social studies. If you see the asterisks here, it will indicate that it's small cells, so you have to have at least 30 students in a group in order for it to populate. Otherwise, it makes it to where you can identify the students in those groups. Let's say you have 2 students in that group and everyone's going to know how they scored, so they bring that down for confidentiality. Our success-ready students, so here's how we did on CCR assessments. We were at 50%. I would like to see that get higher, and we're going to continue to work on that. Our advanced credit, you can see our students did very well with that. Our grad rate was 100%. Our grad follow-up, we're on track. I would obviously love to get all points in everything, but as you can imagine with graduate follow-up, there's just so much that you can do. You can't control what those students did. You can try to guide them in the best path to match what they chose in high school, but if they go out into the work, or if they don't get a job, you cannot control that. So we do lose points if that is not a positive placement, as they call it. Okay, so the continuous improvement portion. This portion of the APR is based on a review of the following forms. They look at the CSIP. Did we develop one of those? Dr. Williams worked hard all summer, worked on getting the CSIP approved along with a committee that she formed. We had a self-study that you can see we received some points for, a climate and culture survey that was sent out to all of the district patrons. They also look at success-ready students. So right now across the state in kindergarten, we are required to give what is called a school entry readiness test. And we test every single kindergartner within so many days of school starting to determine if they were ready for kindergarten. And so we are graded if we do not, or we lose points if we do not have that information entered. They look at attendance. They look, do our students have what's called an ICAP? It's an individual career and academic plan. Every student, by the time they become 8th graders, must have a plan in place that the counselor will do. So they look to see if all of those things are submitted through core data to the state. And then they look at required documentation. And these things are new. As far as the ICAP, the school entry readiness, attendance, we've always had looked at, but this part, the required documentation, they look at our audit report now. They look at the ASBR, the Annual Secretary of the Board report, and then they look to make sure that all of our MOSIS and core data collections were entered in a timely fashion. So here's how we stacked up against it. Our improvement plan, 100%. That was our CSIP. Climate and culture survey, we received 100. This is the kindergarten entry, 100. Our ICAP, we did great. Attendance, not where we want it to be, but considering all that we have dealt with the pandemic, we're at 50. Our audit was good. We had 100% of that on the ASBR and our timely submission of MOSIS and core data. All of those measures were met. Some additional, what they call additional considerations, you don't really receive points that go toward your accreditation, excuse me, but they do look at your assessment participation rates. Those are things that you can see that where we fell in the high 90s. If a student misses the whole entire time of our testing window, then we take a hit for that. I mean, there's nothing we can do. We try to make up as many tests as possible, but sometimes you can't do that. So they also look, this is new on, does the LEA meet the minimum threshold for fund balances? Yes. Is the superintendent certified? Yes. Have all board members participated in required orientation and training? Yes. Is the LEA compliant with federal and state law? Yes. And that's all I had on the APR. Do you guys have any questions on that part before I go into, I have multi.
Good info, thank you.
It's a lot, but okay. Next, the Missouri graduation requirements are pulled by units of credit. You can see the website on there if you would like to reference that for yourself. You can see that in the green, I'm showing you the minimum graduation requirement for mathematics. That is also Alton's current requirement. We require for graduation 3 units of credit for mathematics. The Missouri Coordinating Board for Higher Education, they recommend that you have 4 units of credit. And when you come here to the middle, this is taken directly from this website, it says, students who take a 4th year of math are often more successful in completing college level math. So our proposal to the school board is to raise that expectation with the incoming freshmen. We do not want to do that with anyone that's already started down a certain path. Mrs. Walters met with me. She will be the high school counselor next year, and she's like, I really want to up the game for our students. I want to better prepare them for college and even for the workplace. If they want to go down that path, there are options. It doesn't mean that they have to take trigonometry for their 4th credit. We will have other options. There will be embedded credit through welding. There will be embedded credit. They can take a consumer math. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take calculus or trig.
Statistics.
So
Most of them will need a consumer math.
exactly.
Like what you just said.
I think ag is also, is there in it?
It's embedded for science right now,
Oh, it's
so I
embedded
don't.
for science, yeah. So, and then you think algebra A, algebra B, consumer math, computer science, are you gonna talk about that?
Correct. Add that one.
Okay, so computer science, there was a law passed that computer science has to be used now as one of the optional credits for mathematics. We're gonna have an introductory computer science course next year, which I think the kids are gonna love. That can be used for one of their math credits. Yeah.
There will be multiple ways to obtain that. But again, this will be with incoming freshmen. We will not try to throw that on current students that are halfway through their career and say, oh wait, now you have to get an extra math. So I do ask for approval for that in just a moment. When do you have any questions about that? Okay. New course offerings. I have shared with the board the descriptions of these. I won't take the time to read verbatim all of the descriptions for you, but these are the beginning of several. I would suspect at the next board meeting I may have a handful, maybe a couple more if the teachers come up with some. But we will have contemporary history. I need to throw my glasses back on. We'll have some contemporary history, which will analyze the historical development of the American popular culture from the folk culture of early America to the digital culture of the last 20 years. We will have high school band, as you've learned in prior meetings, and so it's a description on what he will expect with high school band. We will have a new course called Senior Advisory. We are really excited about that. That's another thing that Mrs. Walters really hoped to see. She plans to offer this for students with different career paths. So there will be one for if they're college bound, there'll be one if they're more ready to go into the workforce immediately, or a different career path. And so she will partner with the teacher for this and work on scholarships, whatever their needs are. But then the teacher will also teach them some of the things like working on college applications and working on preparing oral presentations and research papers. So we're excited about that. Computer science, Dr. Williams spoke about, it is required. So Mrs. Cochran has graciously agreed to take that on as one of her business courses. She will attend a 2-week DESE requires a training to go with that. Unless you have your degree in computer science, of course they would accept that. So she is going to go to a 2-week training this summer that will meet the requirements put forth by DESE, and we will offer computer science. We've spoke about our welding program, so we have a little bit about our intro to welding and our advanced competitive welding. We're excited about that. And school publications and journalism, we are very excited about this course. Students that enroll in this class will learn journalism skills, and they will have the opportunity to complete newsworthy informational publications to share with the community through our school website and social media platforms under the guidance of the teacher. So they will also collaborate with the multimedia following their aired events, and they'll work with Mrs. Cochran with her course and then just really try to put stuff out there. Yes?
Do we still have the Comet News?
No. So, those are things like that we can, put out.
Incorporate.
Yeah. So we're excited. That will come from our English department. That's an English approved course. So one of our English teachers will be teaching journalism.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And I'm going to keep going. All right. So I'm also going to present our career ed programs that we offer. You'll see that this is our agriculture education. They use the 3-ring model of equal importance, and you can see over here that this is their three-ring model of a quality ag ed program. They have classroom instruction, the supervised agriculture experience, or the SAEs, and then FFA. So with the classroom instruction piece, they offer a variety of classes to spark interest in as many students as possible. Classroom offerings like ag business, ag science, to lab-based classes like mechanics and construction. They also have greenhouse, landscaping, forestry, and conservation, as well as exploratory ag for junior high. They have the opportunity to also earn their hunter's education certification. So in the SAE, all students in VOAG are encouraged to have ag projects outside of the school setting. They include livestock projects that they sometimes show at the local fairs. They do have several showing this year, and there are currently pigs in our ag barn. Some students do not show but have livestock they raise as an ownership business. Placement is another kind of SAE that has a lot of the students involved. The placement of SAE is simply a job within the ag industry that a student has where they work for an employer. The advisors conduct SAE visits with the students throughout the school year and during the summer. And then with FFA, they've been very active, as you can see. They have some of their information right here. I have another slide that I'll show you in just a minute. They just went to competition last night, and I have the results of that on the next slide. Several students receiving the area, state, and American FFA degree. They continue to get the equipment and resources needed for their shop, and they do appreciate that. The building has been improved. Dr. Williams, they were thrilled that she replaced the broken windows and put a new sidewalk in, which eliminated the water that was leaking down into their shop, as well as the concrete pad at their shop door. The classes have built new welding stations because they will also, for students that don't want to take the 2-hour or 3-hour block of welding, they can still have that incorporated in their ag classes just like they normally do and have a unit on welding. So they have new welding stations along the south wall of the shop. Those still have to be wired. So you can see here their enrollment, 118 enrolled in 6A, 174 in 912. You can probably read through all of that while I was speaking. They are also responsible for the campus landscaping that you guys see. They have a landscaping class, and those classes are the ones that go around and do all of the landscaping that is around the district. These are the Area 16 Leadership Development Event competition results. I won't read through all of them, but you can see that we have several students advancing to districts. So we are, I believe that's next, I know just in a couple weeks that they will go. So we are very proud of all of those students. Any questions about the Ag Ed program? Okay. Next up, we have business education. They have 178 enrollment in their 6 through 12 courses, 2 teachers, 24 FBLA members, 7 FBLA state qualifiers, 1 national qualifier. They host Veterans Day. They create the yearbook in those courses. They live stream all of the basketball games, and they are live streaming the school board meeting you are watching right now. Mrs. Granger-Bettis and Mrs. Cockrum have courses such as desktop publishing, business technology. They also teach our personal finance class, which is required of every student in the state of Missouri. And in personal finance, they do learn about taxes, and they do learn how to balance checkbooks, and they learn about all of those life skills with finance. They teach multimedia and computer programming, and all of their activities are tied to the state standards. Let's see what else I had. They do have an active advisory committee. The strengths are their technology. They with their FBLA, they have opportunities to participate in events and leadership. They have scholarship opportunities that are tied to FBLA membership and participation. Let's go with, these are their FBLA district results. These were all their state qualifiers, so you can see that they were very successful with this as well. Recommendations that they have, they are wanting to purchase some professional grade tripod, video camera, and some cords. Next year they will be offering computer applications. We did this once before, several years ago, where we offered the Microsoft certification, and we had a student that won at the state level. I believe she was very successful with it. So students can get their Microsoft certification and then have that to put on their resumes when they graduate. So I'm really excited that they will be bringing that back, and that's really nice for our students to have. They also are hoping for a new poster printer for district-wide use, so we can make posters and put those out. But they're always really good to help us with anything we need printed in color or poster or whatever, and we're really thankful for them. And they do a great job with the Veterans Day Assembly. Questions on that? Okay. And next, we have family and consumer science education. 168 enrollment in 6 through 12. We only have 1 teacher in that program. We have 49 FCCLA members, 3 students entered STAR events and all placed gold, 3 state qualifiers. They hosted our Veterans Day breakfast, and they have raised, between all of their endeavors, over $19,000 for various events this school year. The students learn from partaking in activities and report they have enjoyed the engagement with a variety of projects, but they were focused on a variety of life skill opportunities, general cleaning, hand washing dishes. They do laundry, on how to wash, dry, fold, and put away, reading recipes, food group awareness, food prep, cooking, baking, shopping at the grocery store, paying bills, writing checks, career exploration, hand sewing, communication, relationship building, and mental health awareness. There are 49, I spoke about the FCCLA members, I'm sorry. They've hosted lunch benefits. They feed the board members every month. They do parent-teacher conferences where they feed the complete entire staff. They do the Comet basketball benefits. And after all things considered, Mrs. Walters did not have any. Mrs. Olivia Walters we will miss in this program, as she will be going to counseling next year. But she did not have any recommendations, as we will have someone new in this position. But here are the STAR event results and the students that, the categories that they were in, and they all received gold, as I said before, and then now they are state bound in the next week or so. So we are proud of this program as well. It's a lot of work that goes into, in my opinion, in cooking, which I'm not, as we know, not. I don't want to say that to the world that I'm not a cook, because nobody knows that.
Well, they do now.
We won't tell.
Does anybody have any questions?
So questions. That was a mouthful. If you do end up having any questions, feel free to email me, whether it's about any of our career education programs or if it's about the APR. You can see there's my phone number and email address, or if any of the board members have questions right now, I will take those.
Anybody have questions of Ms. Reese? All right. May I now get a motion to approve the new course offerings, the assessment plan, vocational technical evaluations?
I didn't talk about the assessment plan, my goodness.
Well,
I'm
back
so
up.
sorry. I didn't have a slide for that. You did see in your packets the assessment plan and what that does is it lists all of our assessments. It lists the policies and procedures that we have for assessing students. It has our large scale assessments, small scale, on anything that we do across the district. And I just need approval for that every year there were no major changes to that.
Does anybody have a question about the assessment plan? Okay. Now, may I now get a motion to approve new course offerings, assessment plan, vocational technical evaluations, and graduation requirements for the 2023-24 school year? Debbie's got the motion and Jamie has the second. All in favor? Motion passes. Dr. Williams will now present the February 2023 budget report and present specific items from the comprehensive school improvement plan, including attendance, enrollment, as well legislation which may currently impact public education. Dr. Williams.
Okay, so the update that I show for you today is from the month of February 2023. I want to remind everyone that we have, Holly over here running. The Missouri Public School funding is divided into 4 funds. As I explained last month, we have a general fund, a teacher fund, debt service, and capital projects. The Alton R-4 School District currently has no debt service fund, as we've not borrowed any monies in a number of years. Under Chapter 165.011 of the Missouri statutes, they outline the revenue and expenditures that are allowed in each of these 4 funds. I'm going to start once again with our electric bill for the month, and this is from Oregon Electric. I am pleased. Some months I'm shocked how big it is, and some months I'm surprised that we're so much less than before. So this is the lowest electric bill that we've had in January 15 through February 15 in 5 years. It seems a lot to me, but it's still not as much as it has been. It's $14,023.22. Since the first day of school, as we look at the student enrollment, has continued to enroll. We've improved from 548 to 610. And the future of our community, as you know, is reliant upon enrollment of students in our school district. So we have to continue to reach out and provide programs and opportunities for people in our community so that they'll want to send their children to our school district. As I look at the student enrollment by grade level on the next slide, you can see that our 6th grade class is larger than the other classes. It has 57 students, and our 1st grade is significantly smaller than all the other classes with 33. Due to that fact, next year when the 1st grade goes to 2nd grade, we'll once again have 2 teachers in 2nd grade, and we'll renew 3 teachers in 1st grade. The attendance for January and February 2023 only dipped below 90% on 2 occasions. The ongoing average of both of those months was 92%, but I wanted to remind you that's not our 90 of 90 count, that's just the average daily attendance. Our year-to-date expenditures to annual budget, our expenditures compared to the fiscal budget are in line with what would be expected. We have $2,779,000, that's incorrect. I can't see the amount. Well, we have almost $3 million remaining of our projected $7,718,054.13 budget. If you look at those particular numbers, for the entire year, we have spent, I can't see the numbers, but we have about $2,700,000 left for this particular budget, which is right in line where it should be. And on the next slide, you can see the expenditures dashboard. All the salaries and benefits are at around 50%. Our purchase services are still in the green, and our supplies are in the green, so we're doing very well on our annual budget expenditures. The next slide, I break down our fund cash balance by fund. we have, when we break down the fund cash balance, we are sitting at $7,500,000, that's not true. We're sitting at $8,607,500.39. Now that seems significant. That's a 162.5% fund balance. And the only reason it looks like that is because if you look at the teacher fund holds $5 million of that money. $5,315,497.32, something like that. But on that particular number, you can't move money out of the teacher fund to other places. We purposely loaded the teacher fund so that we could give raises to our teachers, hopefully for this year, and we're anticipating we'll have enough money in there to raise again next year, give raises again next year to bring our base up to $38,000, which we expect will be mandated in the near future. We just want to be ahead of that curve. And I think our teachers are quite delighted at the $3,000 across the board salary raise. Are there any questions about our fund balances? All right, we're doing very well. But it's, once again, I'm reminding everyone that although it looks like we have a lot of money, that money's sitting in Fund 2, which will not be transferred out of Fund 2 for operational monies. So that is ESSER 3, American Rescue Act money, which is over. We will not receive that money ever again. That's why it's sitting in that account. In order to continue to introduce programs and to have improvement of our facilities, we have to raise operational fund levy. So let's go ahead and look at the revenues for February. The revenues show a spike in February, and once again, that's just due to the ESSER 3, our last of the American Rescue Fund money coming down into our teacher fund. Our expenditures for February, while this graphic shows expenditures in relation to the budget as even, you have to remember that, for instance, as an example, 95.24% of an $8 million budget is significantly more than a 96.52% of a $5 million budget. And because we're currently at $8 million and we have spent 95.24% of that, it's important for you to remember that that percentage is a lot more expenditure because we fixed facilities, we're remodeling a building. We're trying to bring all of our current facilities up to par so that we can continue to use them rather than build. Okay? Fund 1, our general fund, through February 2023 have spent $2,425,698.26, which is up considerably from last year, and our revenue was at $2,907,146.29. Yes, we have spent a lot of money fixing up our facilities, but we've also received a considerable amount of grants, around more than $3,900,000, because we also have the teacher baseline salary grant, we have the career ladder grant, and other grants to be added to that amount. On the teacher fund, we are really proud of our teacher fund. We received $5,065,730.51 in revenue this year. Part of that was from the federal ESSER 3 American Rescue Act. And finally, our capital projects. Remember that I pulled down a large number of money from the ESSER 3 American Rescue to buy 3 school buses, which are $500,000. We have not paid for those yet. So money sitting in that balance of $675,907.26, we still have to pull that $500,000 out for the 3 school buses. All right? Now to the meat and potatoes of what makes the world go round. Money, money, money. Taxes. And a dirty word for many people, but for us, it's when we think about our children and why we need an operation levy. I want to talk about that for a minute. So let's talk about the tax levy. But before we do, I need to speak briefly about a few questions from the public that they had about some events which have been ongoing. Go back to the first slide, please. One of the main questions I have had is, what are you going to spend this money on? I can tell you that we have to, when I came here at the beginning of the year, some things were in disrepair. And we have spent the year remodeling, just upkeeping, like we said, the sidewalks, buildings that were leaking. We had 15 windows knocked out, just improving and taking care as responsible stewards of the buildings that we have. further, something that has disappeared over the past few years, is the career and technical education offered to our students. We are a rural community with students who have great talent. They live on farms, they need to weld, they need to be able to build, we need plumbers, we need people to be able to sew, both male and female, and to cook. And for some reason, over time, those skill sets have gone on the back burner. And so what we would like to do, because for the sake of our graduating class and our students growing up, they need to be reintroduced to career technical education where that they have those talents and skills. For example, as in our competitive welding class, they will be able, under the tutelage of Zach Wheeler, to graduate and go directly into the workforce with a significant income. It's not all about college, it's also about the workforce. So another question I keep getting is about, if you're going to have career and technical education, why did you sell all of that equipment in November? Well, the equipment used during our prior career and technical courses, such as woodworking, were outdated and will not pass OSHA safety standards. Some items were broken, they didn't have safety covers over the saws, and they do not meet current safety requirements. I'd like to give it to you like this. If we're going to have driver's ed, I'm not going to give you a 1970 Pinto with no driver's ed lamps. What do you call them? Seatbelts. Instead, I'm going to put my students in a car with seatbelts, safety, driver, the important things. The same thing is true of the shop. I'm not going to put a brand new shop in with a big bandsaw with no safety covers on it and cut all their fingers off. So that's why we had to get rid of everything in order to, when we do expand back to wood shop, we can have those devices which are safe and our children can learn on for the workforce. Having addressed those questions, I now wish to explain the meat and potatoes of why we need an operating levy. On April 4, 2023, we are asking our voting patrons to vote yes on Proposition Kids at the polls. So what is an operational levy? Well, this levy makes up the difference between funding from the state and federal government, which I usually talk about through the grants we received from the American Rescue Act, from the federal taxes we receive, etc. And they make up the difference between those and the cost of the district to provide programs and upkeep of our facilities. One of the reasons that we haven't had proper upkeep of our facilities before the COVID pandemic was a lack of an operational tax. Because currently we have a $2.75 operational tax, which is the lowest tax in Missouri, and it has not increased for over 30 years. So, and I've used this example before. A school bus used to cost $40,000. That's when back in the day when we had a $2.75 beginning. Guess what? It now costs $150,000, but we're still getting a $2.75 tax levy. Times have changed, and so we need to offer our students the same opportunity as other school districts. What we are going to be asking for is a 10-cent per year for 5-year operational tax levy. On the next screen, I'm going to talk to you a minute about school district tax levies, and I'm going to go more in depth with it. If you have any questions about what the true operational tax levies are for any Oregon County property, you may go into the courthouse and ask for a copy from Tracy Bridges, and she will tell you that Couch is at 4.1081, Fair is at 3.6702. They'll give you this paper that shows that. Koshkonong is at 4.0432. Alton is at 275. Winona is at 275. The data I show are accurate, and you can also find them on the Department of Elementary and Secondary Annual Secretary of the Board site, for which I provided a link on the district website. If you go to alton.k12.mo.us, is that our address? Mm-hmm. Okay. I have put up there an April 4 button for the tax levy, and on that page, I have created myself a calculator, which I'll talk about in just a second. And you'll be able to go in and take your 22 taxes and poke them into the 2 spots for both property and personal. It will tell you exactly how much it will increase for each year. This money's not going to go to the teacher's salary. We actually have zero debt service. We have no capital projects, and we have no special project money to increase teacher salary. What we have is a blanket tax levy, a flat tax levy of $275. Winona and Alton are at the bottom of the list. So on the next one, if we were to pass this 50 cents levy, regardless of how people try to rebuttal this fact straight from the state of Missouri, you can look it up yourself, that will put us at $325, which is below eminence, and only above Summersville, Cabul, and Winona. It's a very low tax levy, and I feel like if we wish for our schools to be competitive, and we wish for our schools to have the nice services of other school districts, then we have to invest in an operational levy to be able to offer the same things that those schools might offer to our students. For example, the band. That's not a small undertaking. On the next page, I'm going to give you the web address where you can go find for yourself what the tax levies are for every school district in the state of Missouri. If you go to https://apps.desi.mo.gov/ASBR, it will take you to the annual secretary board report for every school in the state of Missouri. When you click on that, you can see that you'll be given an opportunity to search by code or by name. Click on name, and it'll put all the schools in alphabetical order. You'll be able to go through every school district in the state of Missouri, look at what their ASBR report says. When you get to that page, it will say ASBR report right at the front, and you'll click on it, okay? When you do click on it, the very first thing that pops up on a school secretary of the board report is the tax levy. Now, it's important for people to remember that the total of all funds of levies is what that district is paying for tax levy, regardless of whether it is in the general fund, which is ours, or the special revenue fund, or a debt service fund, or a capital projects fund. All of those combined make up the tax levy of that district. Are there any questions about that? So we are at $275, which is the lowest, along with 60 other districts in the state of Missouri at 500 plus. I have had the opportunity to speak with Doug Bridges, and he's provided some information to me about tax calculation. He said that anybody that had a question, no, I think I have it right here somewhere. Anybody that has a question about their particular taxes and how it will impact their particular taxes, he's welcome to come talk to him about it. These are some things that he did tell me about appraised value and valuation. Total appraised value on land, residence, commercial properties is how the levy tax is found, which is what I just explained to you. And the total appraised value is then multiplied by a percentage depending on what is put in the system as residential, agricultural, or commercial properties. Residential properties are assessed at 19% of their value. Agricultural land properties now are at 12% of value, and commercial properties are at 32%. He did tell me that you take your assessed value and you multiply it by the levy depending on what taxing district you live in. And as I showed you, if you want to go to the ASBR, or if you want to go in to talk to Tracy Bridges or Doug, they can give you a printout of what each of the Oregon County property tax levies are. And they're exactly as I have shown on this PowerPoint.
You do have to divide your assessed value by 100.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that on the
Okay,
calculator.
well,
Yeah.
you didn't say
Yeah, I
that,
haven't
so-
got there yet.
Okay.
Okay, so on the next screen, I have actually devised a tax calculator through spreadsheet using our, so what you need to do is you can go to our website to Alton, April 4, 2023 tax levy, push that button, it'll take you a page that tells about our levy, and using your own, anybody, 2022 Oregon County real estate tax and personal property tax receipts, you will locate your total assessed value for your real estate personal property tax, and this is found in the top right-hand corner on your receipt. Using the real estate and personal property tax total assessed value, you will then enter the values in this calculator I've created in only two places. There are two yellow boxes, and in those yellow boxes, you will put the amount for your property and personal taxes. Go ahead. It looks like this. The tax calculator looks like this. And on the calculator, when you see where it says real estate and personal property, you take your 2022 evaluation price, your assessed value, and you click in there. When you do, next slide, it will automatically calculate the amount that you are going to increase for your annual cost. And you can see that if you happen to have a 5,000 assessed, if you had 19,000 assessed value of residential, and if you had 5,000 assessed value for a car, your monthly cost would increase by $2, and it would increase by $24 per year. And then it would increase the same amount for 5 years. The only way to determine what your cost will be is to use this calculator that I've given to you, and if you have any issues using it, let me know and I can help you through that. Or you can go in to Doug Bridges and he will be able to help you determine the cost to you per year. All right? Are there any questions about that? All right. So, for the actual day of the vote on April 4, the Proposition Kids ballot will look like this. The Proposition Kid ballot will say, shall the Board of Education of the Alton R-4 School District of Missouri be authorized to increase the operating tax levy by 10 cents per year for 5 years to $3.25. And I showed you where that will lie on the spectrum related to other school districts. We're still toward the bottom. But it's not asking a tremendous amount to jump higher or to take on a debt service. If this proposition is approved, the adjusted operation tax levy of the district is estimated to increase 10 cents from $2.75 to $2.85 for the first year. And then we'll continue until we reach $3.25 in tax year 2026. Now I want to talk a little bit about this. There are times in life we must realize what's most important. For me as a district leader, our students are most important. What can I provide for our students? What programs can I provide for our students? How do I treat our students to make sure that students in Alton have the same opportunities as students in West Plains? How can I make sure that they have a successful career, a successful placement in life? For me, the kids of Alton R-4 deserve exactly the same opportunities as any other kid in Missouri. We live in a state where people have a $5 levy, and we expect our kids to compete. She's showing an APR. She's showing us all these programs these kids do. People ask me, why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? We have a $2.75 operation levy. That's why. I've heard, why don't we have band anymore? Why don't we offer welding, which we're going to do now, to place our students? The only thing preventing continued expansion are operational funds. Whether you like me or you dislike me, whether you like a teacher or dislike a teacher or administrator or anybody else in this school district, all that should matter to you is our children. It's not about personality and liking people. It's about what can we do to increase the opportunity for our kids. The money from this levy will allow Alton to continue to grow and provide everything our kids deserve. I'm pleading with everyone who's listening who can hear this message to vote yes on April 4. Are there any questions from the board? Okay, I thank you all.
Great presentation.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I wish to inform everyone of the future Board of Education dates. We have the spring election for board members and the tax levy proposition on the ballot on April 4, 2023. We will hold the board reorganization meeting and the regular board meeting on April 13, 2023. Our May board meeting will be on May 11, 2023, with graduation on May 12th of 2023. At this time, the Board of Education is welcome to comment on any district event.
It looked like from the pictures that were on the website for the Read Across America,
That was Read
Read Across America, yeah, that the kids had a wonderful time.
It was
And
wonderful.
they love to have their family come in.
Larissa, would you like to speak to that?
Sure.
So Read Across America, as you know, started to celebrate Dr. Seuss's birthday. And that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure we highlighted. If we want our kids to read and enjoy reading, we need to have fun reading. So we did a Read Across America Day and combined it with Title I, but we invited parents. Every student could bring in 2 guests. We had breakfast, a very light breakfast. But more importantly, we had the kids dress up in their comfy clothes and pajamas and bring whatever fun, blankets or pillows. And after breakfast, then at 8 o'clock, the students took their guests back to their room and they read. They read. Sometimes the adult read to the child read to the adult. We had guest readers. Some of the classes did a craft with that adult. And everybody was gone by 9 o'clock. And that sounds silly, but that matters. There was not a single negative comment. I have, just looking at the number of people who checked in, which was an easy way to count, we had over 120 come in. The kids had a great time, so after the adults left at 9, I reached out to I'm not sure that I can't remember the name of the department because she's one of our parents, the Missouri, I think it's the Department of Conservation. So she's the Lorax, and the Lorax is all about environmentalism. So the Lorax and its team came in and did a guest reading of the book The Lorax to each of the grade levels, and including the pre-K, and everybody had a good time. Smokey the Bear will be with us on Career Day. But it was a really nice event it brought in parents and guests, grandparents, aunts and uncles. It fostered this piece of reading, that reading is meant to be a fun thing. It's something we can do together. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. The teachers were very pleased and a bit surprised at how easy the day went and the positive feedback they received from the guests and the kids and then so, I asked for feedback, and it was things like, we need to have some of the high school seniors come over and read, especially, the basketball team and baseball and ag, and, so just some different things like that. But I think overall it was an event. It's always March 2nd, so it's nice and easy to plan. We did a Dr. Seuss Spirit Week. I just think it was a great event. I think it went very well, and it's certainly one that we look to continue.
Thank you very
every
much.
single year.
Thanks so much, Larissa.
All right, may I get a motion to adjourn the meeting? Chris has that motion and Kelly has the second. All in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for attending.